What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the fly tying tutorial. Today we're going to be tying up a little sandwall worm variant. This is a cool little pattern if you want to get your sandwall worms to get down fast without adding split shot to your line or without adding lead free or just a regular lead wire to your hook shank. With that being said, let's get going with this tutorial. So the hook we have in the vise right now is a Mustad Caddis Curved. This is a size 10. You could also use the Scud, the egg hooks by Mustad. They work just as well. I like these. I've been tying a lot of flies with these lately because they have a longer kind of slant here at the front of the shank, and I just think it looks really well, and I just like the little extra shank here. The bead we're going to be using is just a pink 1/8 bead, and the thread is just Vivus GSP. This is 30 denier. So I'm going to show you how I put my chenille through the bead, and I'm just using some ultra chenille. This is fluorescent hot pink, and it's the standard. So I just cut a little piece off about the length of the card there. Now what I'm going to do is, what I've actually done already is grabbed a lighter and just heated this end up a bit so it creates a little taper, just like so, like how you would on regular sandwall worms. Now I'm going to grab this bead, small hole first, and I'm just going to try, it's kind of tricky sometimes, but this time it actually worked out pretty quick. I'm going to just thread that onto the chenille. Now what I'm going to do is just grab my hook, and I'm going to thread my hook through that bead as I would if I was just putting a regular bead on. And what I like to do is kind of just pull the chenille kind of like this, just so there's a little bit more room to get this through. This is really the only way that I found that it's the easiest way to do it. It's probably going to be a nightmare to actually try to put the bead on the hook first, then the chenille. So once that's on, that's what it's going to look like. It's like so. Now what I'm doing right now is just kind of making sure that they're pretty equal on each side of the hook shank. Now this part can be a little tricky. This the chenille wants to slide on you, so I'm going to come in very light with this thread. I'm just going to build up a little tight spot here. Now I'm going to cut out that tag end. Now I'm just going to take some thread wraps down this shank while keeping the chenille straight onto the top of the shank here. So I'm just going to go down to about where the hook point is, or the hook barb, sorry. Now I'm just going to kind of get some of those fluffies down. You want this all to be flat, but I'm just going to finish bringing this up, just like so. So now I'm just going to take some wraps here to secure the chenille, as well as I want all these little fluffies on the top to be pretty much flat. I want pretty much a flat thread base. And that's why I like using this GSP. It's really thin and really strong, so you can just build this up without having a lot of bulk. And you can really crank down on it to keep it all tight in there, just like so. For the body part, we're going to be using some UTC Ultra Wire. This is just a small, and this is in a fluorescent pink. And what I'm going to do is just grab about about a 6 to 8 inch piece here. And if you want more segmentation, you can use a medium. So I'm just going to tie that wire on the side of the hook facing towards me. Another good thing about this GSP for underbodies, it's really smooth, so you're going to get a nice smooth underbody. So I'm just going to grab this wire. We're just going to make a nice little wired body up this hook shank, trying to keep these wire wraps touching each other. So you can just use your nail every so often to kind of push it back if it starts to, if you can kind of see a gap showing. But you want these pretty much perfect together, and you'll get a nice looking fly. So as you can see, every like 3 or so, or if I see a little gap forming, I'll just grab my nail and kind of push it back, and it works out really well. So the reason why you want this nice and flat is so you don't have any those little fluffies, one in your way and two coming up through the wire wraps. So I'm gonna take this wire pretty much all the way up. Just like so. Tie that off with a couple nice wraps here. Make sure it's nice and tight. And I just come in, I'd usually bring my bobbin up. I usually bring my bobbin up right to this, right underneath the bead. Then I'll just helicopter the rest of that wire out. I'll just put some more wraps in there just to be safe. So right now we're just gonna add a little collar, and what I like to do is just make a small dubbing loop. Nothing big here. I'm just gonna grab my dubbing loop spinner, and you can add a little bit of pink in here. I think on this one I'm gonna put a little bit of pearl. So I just have a little SLF prism. This is ice pearl. It's pretty much equivalent to ice dub. You don't need a lot. I'm just gonna grab a little bit here, a little pinch. I'm kind of just gonna break it apart so it's a little bit shorter, so that I can just throw this in my dubbing loop. With this GSP you can make some nice dubbing loops because it's strong. With just regular 70D, it tends to break a little easier. So I'm just going to tighten this up a bit. Grab my trusty dubbing brush here. Just brush that out. I can actually cut a little bit off this, so it's a little bit shorter. Then I'm just going to palmer this little collar in here. Just like so. Bring that thread over. Make some nice tight wraps. Then you can just come with your scissors, cut out that little dubbing loop. Then you can come in with your dubbing brush and kind of just tease that out a little bit. Now we're just going to throw a nice 4 or 5 turn whip finish in here. I'm just going to throw 2. Then you can cut your thread out, and it's ready to fish. So you can tie this in all kinds of different colors. It adds a nice amount of weight and a lot more durability to the actual San Juan worm, because usually when you tie it, they can break off pretty easy. But this is a cool little variant. I've been fishing this for a couple months now. You can change out the dubbing here. You can even just put a little collar if you like. You could bring the wire all the way up. I also tie this in brown with copper wire. It looks really nice in the water. So tie a couple up, try them out. Let me know how you do. Thanks a lot for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. If you have any questions or any comments or anything like that, just drop that down in the comment box below. Thanks a lot again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.